Hello everybody, my name is King Kuwaro. Hope you're having an amazing day. Of course, today we are here with my boy Ocelotl getting patched and nerfed. I want to go over this. This is patch notes, technically only just a hotfix for Ocelotl specifically. Of course, since it has been 7 days since his release, developers were like, oh, we got some stuff to change around, and oh my god, did they change around pretty important things. If you guys are new, consider subscribing as I do post content like this daily. I want to preface this first by saying I have played him every single day since his release. I'm currently rep 8 with Ocelotl, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've grinded the first 4 days extremely, and then these past 4 days I've been kind of just more relaxed and chill, right? I have a decent idea where they're going with this. I still think it's pretty interesting how they're tackling this, and I'll get to that in a second, right? First off, let's read the whole 2 changes. First off is the Jaguar's Tail, which is his forward spear dash. No longer pins or deals damage, but now guarantees a chained light attack. The way that I play him regardless with the Jaguar's Tail, I feel like I get a confirmed light anyways. The second move is adjusted weapon trajectories for opener lights to better match weapon visuals. Obviously that one is more of a fix. That's kind of just what was intended to be from the get-go, kind of a visual bug that they patched, so that's not a big deal. Developers notes, we removed Jaguar's Tail ability to pin opponents as it was creating ganking opportunities that were too strong. We also adjusted the hero's opener lights to hit external targets more reliably. Now I'll get to the community reactions in a second, but the reason that this in particular is such a big deal is because inside the game, Ocelotl's official role is a ganker. So it's pretty interesting that they felt like his ganking opportunities were too strong. Although that's kind of what he's intended for according to the game itself, right? Jaguar's Tail no longer pins or deals damage. I feel like that's pretty interesting. I feel as if Jaguar's Tail and the damage that it did deal was pretty significant. It wasn't a big amount, right? But it was enough. There was a couple times where I killed someone unexpectedly because of the Jaguar's Tail. You know, I guess you could say it's more of a balance. But I'll be honest, after these first like maybe 4 or 5 days, I haven't seen a lot of Ocelotls playing. Not nearly as much as the first 2 days. Even the third, you know, it's just been falling off every single day. More and more as it goes by, there's been times where I'll go like full hours and I won't see a single Ocelotl in Dominions, in 1v1s or 2v2s. So it is pretty interesting that they're already nerfing him to the ground, quote unquote, right? Before he's even released technically. And I'm over here on Reddit, and you know it's pretty interesting because I never go on Reddit. But this is PSA live patch Ocelotl opener bash no longer doing direct damage, right? So this is kind of going over, and I want to take a look at just the community reactions and what people are saying. Let's take a look at some of these. They could have used any amount of creativity and gave him something out of Hunter stance to give him an opener mix-up like hidden stance, except they give him a bad bash that we clearly haven't seen on 13 other characters. Ah yes, the pirate treatment. Nerf the wrong thing over and over until the character has borderline worthless stats. So dumb. Of all the things to nerf, they picked the worst part of his kit, his opener. I think it should go back to dealing direct damage, count as a first hit stun, follow-ups have reduced damage, and chain on miss. It already felt weak as hell before. Edit. Just realized this also has a massive nerf in that you can't do opener bash and a finisher bash without sacrificing your confirmed damage for the first bash. It just neuters so much of the flexibility of his chain through this. I didn't even think about that. That's pretty interesting. This like sucks. It should 100% be able to chain on miss now. I guess it's kind of interesting that you have to choose between chaining to the finisher bash or going to the confirmed light to chain off of. But I still believe it should chain on miss. It lost 1 damage and pressure options. It should be compensated. I would argue there wasn't really a reason for it to not chain on miss before either. I agree with that. I feel like it should chain on miss. You know, just dodge twice, bro. But you know, it kind of makes something that was already kind of struggling completely obsolete at this point. I agree with a lot of these people saying that you shouldn't have to go and rely on first initial bash to chain into finisher bash when, I mean, there's a chance that you don't even get it. If you go for the finisher bash input while they're already dodging, then you just missed it. And at that point, because of this nerf, you don't even get any damage off. And then, not only that, but you're at a disadvantage in negative frames for them to punish you. So this is a pretty interesting change. I feel like maybe this shouldn't have been implemented the way it was, especially because, you know, every fighter in this game has their gimmick. Whether it be a hidden stance like Nobushi, whether it be a charge attack like Orochi, whether it be a shield like Black Prior, or whether you can fake attacks like Kensei. People have their gimmicks. One of Ocelotl's only gimmicks was his forward bash. The other thing being like the prowler stance, but let's be honest, how many people actually use that? Now this next comment actually comes from the Empire itself, right? Someone commented, Hunter9688, big shout out to you, left a very lengthy paragraph, I might add, right? But you know, some pointer tips to truly just help other Ocelotl players out, right? And before anyone says anything about inexperience, right, this dude has a few thousand hours, plural, in this game with roughly 17 hours on the new hero, right? Dude seems to know a lot about this. Big shout out to you. I want to use this comment because I do appreciate it. I feel like a lot of people can pull from this, but one thing in particular really does stand out, right? In this video, how to play Ocelotl, one of my big tips was to open up with the forward dash light attack. And right here, the first thing, right, a great thing to do would be to mix up your bashes in opener zone. Although be wary that your zone opener is GB vulnerable. This is a great way to avoid getting light parried on repeat. That's a good tip, right? Understanding now that this spear bash is getting nerfed, or is technically already nerfed, at this point we opt out of dealing this damage. It's literally just, you know, you don't get damage in the chance that you can either set up for a confirmable light, or you go in for the finisher bash, and in that case, does it even hit? If it gets dodged, you don't do any damage and you made yourself vulnerable literally for nothing. Last up, I want to take a look at this video, right? This is put out by Freeze. Big shout out to you. Link will be in the description as well as in the top right of your video. I feel like Freeze explains this in a way that I probably can't, so let's just take a look at this real quick.
What this also means is that accessing the finisher bash is now really awkward. If you do the low 9 damage follow-up light, you go to the mid-chain bash. For the finisher bash, you need to forego any sort of damage, which makes this a very undesirable option. The good thing that this change brought along was that it killed a lot of his gank potential. Since the neutral bash no longer resets the hit stun, it can't be used for these absurd chain confirms anymore.
With that being said, it looks like Ocelotl is no longer a ganker, which is pretty upsetting. I know that's his initial pre-release idea. I guess his role could also change within the next week, but still, I find it pretty upsetting that someone who's labeled as an official ganker by the game itself is now being nerfed because of their ganking opportunities. Kind of important to understand how For Honor views each individual character. Obviously, with each person also having their own gimmicks, nerfing such gimmicks makes it pretty hard to pull off those gimmicks in like a useful environment. I don't think he's gonna be completely obsolete at this point. I mean, if they implement other changes to his kit in a negative way, then it definitely could throw him off from being anywhere viable within the next, you know, however many years. As it stands right now, I still think he's pretty useful. I've been playing him. I mean, I played him last night. I played him a little bit this morning. I haven't noticed that big of a difference personally. I don't think this is going to be the biggest, you know, world-ending deal of all time. But I do think it is pretty important to understand how For Honor views ganking. If they felt like he shouldn't have good ganking opportunities in the first place, then why label him as a ganker, right? I feel like For Honor is just kind of lost at what they're trying to do with this character. And it's pretty upsetting because a lot of people seem to really like this. I mean, I feel like that's reflected in my entire channel for the past week and a half. So, you know, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see what they're gonna do with this character. Hopefully it's not too bad leading up to his official release. That's when a lot of people are gonna get their hands on it officially. People who don't like to spend the $8 now, they'll be able to get him within the next week, and then of course hands-on, see for themselves how they feel about this character. That is it for today, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is King Ocelotl. Be sure to check out Freeze's video in the description down below, as well as leave a comment and let me know how you guys feel about this overall change. Personally, I feel like it's obviously a negative for Ocelotl. It's not the end of the world. I don't think it's gonna break the character by any means or make him obsolete or unusable, unviable. I do think, however, it is a nerf at the end of the day, and waiting to see how this is gonna overall affect Ocelotl's playstyle, we're just gonna have to wait and see for ourselves. Have a great day, stay safe, take care, peace, adios, and of course until next time, bye bye y'all.